superheroes, first let me thank you for your commitment to getting involved with Candy Town and being one of our superhero characters. This weekend is such a good opportunity for us to connect kids and families to the ministries of the church and ultimately connect them to Jesus. There's one family that has been a part of our church for the last year. They came for the very first time when we hosted Candy Town. It's a mom, dad, and two kids, and they have just gotten involved with everything that we have to offer. The mom specifically, she is now serving on our hospitality team and also our children's ministry team. She's gone on a missions trip. She's gone through Next Step. She's been water baptized, and she's been on a missions trip. And she's here every single week. That all started because we were able to offer a positive experience through Candy Town last year, and her entire family got connected. So you are a huge part of making that happen for some families this year, and we're looking forward to hearing some more stories just like this particular family, and you play a big part in that. This video is designed to give you some guidelines for being a superhero for Candy Town. There's a lot of different directions that you could go, but we kind of want to clarify some specific expectations of what we'd be looking for you to do as one of our superheroes. The first thing is your job is to play the role of the particular character that you're casted to be, whether that be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, or whoever it is. You want to become that character as much as humanly possible within the guidelines that we have. Now, first thing you want to do is you always want to highlight the positive elements of that particular character. So if you think about Superman, he has lots of positive elements. He is a big, strong guy, but he always is kind of fighting for what's right and to bring justice to the world and make sure that the bad things are taken away and the good things are accented. You want to highlight that positive element when you have interactions with kids. So every time a kid does something good, you want to encourage that and say, hey, it's great having some more superheroes that are bringing good back to the world. Thank you so much for being such a good superhero. Obviously, all the kids are going to be dressed up as superheroes too, so that encouraging word would be a great element to include if you were Superman. Now, the flip side of that is you want to avoid any of the negative elements of a particular character. The reason for that is we are trying to host a good positive event, and each superhero, many of them have negative characteristics. So if you were being Iron Man, you wouldn't want to focus on some of the negative lifestyles that Iron Man has or just the ego that he has. If you were being Batman, you wouldn't want to focus on the revenge that he's constantly trying to get, because we want to model positive characteristics for our kids to have. Or even the Hulk. You don't want to focus on his anger issues. So you always want to focus on the positive elements that a superhero brings when you are being that character and avoid the negative pieces. So another thing that you want to be aware of as a superhero, you're going to be interacting with a lot of kids. There are appropriate and inappropriate ways to have physical contact with them. There's really two main things that I would encourage you to do when you're interacting with kids. You want to give lots of high fives. Any contact with someone's hands is a great thing. High fives are great. Shaking hands is great. That's really the primary thing that you can do. The secondary thing that you can do is probably for a lot of photo opportunities, parents are going to want to take pictures of their kids with you dressed as a superhero. So the other thing that I would encourage you to do is just a simple hand around someone's shoulders or hand on their shoulder as you take pictures, because those will be very positive experiences. So keep your physical contact limited to hands and shoulders, and we should be in good shape with that. The next thing is you want to be overly positive and encouraging as a superhero. Keep in mind that you are playing the role of a role model for each one of these kids, and they're going to follow your example. So everything you say needs to be very positive towards them and also towards the enemies. So the theme that we're going with is there is a criminal, the diabolical Jawbreaker, and his band of Toffee Toughs have taken over Candy Town and stolen all the candy. You want to keep all of your comments about them to be positive and about the kids. So you want to encourage the kids and say, hey, keep doing what's right, keep doing what's good. But when you're talking about the Jawbreaker and the Toffee Toughs, you don't want to go into this deep negative thing about how we're going to crush them or destroy them. You kind of just want to avoid that topic and say, hey, you know what, we're together going to work together to restore order to Candy Town and bring back the candy. You don't want to get into specifics of what you're going to do to defeat the enemy or the violent plans that you have to defeat the enemy. Even though those may seem to be certain things that superheroes do, we want to avoid that in this setting to keep all of our talk to be positive and encouraging towards the kids and also towards the enemies that we are coming in contact with. The final thing that I want to talk about is you as a superhero, as a character, you want to have your impact as broad as possible. So you don't want to get really stuck in one conversation that's going to hold you there for a long time. You want to try to have as many touch points with as many kids, as many parents, as many families as possible. So some things that I would encourage you to do are very quick, brief interactions where you go and give a high five, you say something positive or encouraging, or you pose for a picture and then you move on. You need to be very careful not to get caught in these extensive conversations with one person. Just very quick conversations. A lot of them are going to be 15 seconds and then you want to move on to the next conversation. Some ways to do that would be, hey, I want to just make my rounds and talk to some of the other superheroes so we can make sure we have a good plan to restore order back to Candy Town. So that's a quick way to just transition out of a conversation so you could move to the next family. So let me just rewind and hit some of those things. Number one, play the character role, but only focus on the positive pieces. Your physical contact should be limited to hands and shoulders. You want to always be positive and encouraging and avoid any of the negative words towards the bad guys or even toward focusing on your character's negative aspects. And then you want to keep your interactions short because that gives you the broadest impact so you can contact as many people as humanly possible when you're here for Candy Town. Appreciate you so much. You are going to be a huge part of making Candy Town an awesome experience for each one of the kids. I know my kids personally look forward to interacting with the characters and having some fun with that. So looking forward to having you. Thank you so much for your commitment to do this, and we're looking forward to more stories of families that are connected as a result of the ministry that takes place this weekend, and you're a big part of that. Thank you again.